Okay, our next verse from Nagarjuna is about attachment. And this one has to do with material goods, so it's a nice follow-up to Venerable Samton's BBC the other day about gain and loss. Which was, if you didn't watch that, you might want to try to go back a few days and find it. So Nagarjuna says, by not being attached to objects of material wealth, one gets rid of covetousness. So covetousness, when we're in these verses, we're trying to cultivate our generosity. So just thinking about, giving to another person, can we make it so that our mind isn't like a business transaction, like, geez, how much should I offer for this or offer for that, but really try to be giving from the heart, and then not holding on, but, offering with a heart that really wants to give. And so I think when we, as Buddhist practitioners, when we make offerings, it's really good to watch the mind, and you can see your mind sometimes like kind of weighing out, how much should I offer and this and that. And one of my teachers helped me a lot to just, she just said very simply, offer what you have to offer. And I always let that be my standard, I also was taught that the Dharma is precious. And so it's really what you do in your heart when you offer, because there's no amount of money that can, it's more precious than money can buy, let's put it that way. Because what the Dharma affords us is a chance for real liberation from all of our suffering. And so as we train in our mind and in generosity, one of the very first trainings of the Buddha, that's a precious thing, to be able to start this training, the easiest of the 6 perfections, and then think about becoming liberated just by the small act that we do when we make an offering. And then another way to think about this is how, when we're attached to things, why are we attached, and how we're, so externally driven, and we're thinking there's happiness in these objects, and just imagining what the world would be like if people were content with what they had materially. Everyone does need a certain amount of, the 4 requisites, food, shelter, clothing, medicine, to live. But just imagine how the world would be if people were content with what they had. And I especially think in terms of like all the conflicts that we have in the world, because so many things the conflicts are driven by wanting land, or fights over land, or fights over oil, or, they're very much related to material objects. Sometimes people fight about ideologies and things like that, but a lot of things might sound that way, but a lot of times they come down to land, possessions, things like that. So our world would be quite different, and we can start that just in our own little sphere of influence by helping to recognize when we have coveting in the mind, and then trying to dispel it by seeing how we're attached to things, and really working on being content.